Good evening, and welcome to another edition of Friday with Friends. Once upon a time, happily ever after. That's the story. And today's short talk is about writing your own story. It always begins with once upon a time. And what we want is happily ever after. So, how do I get to that? Well, let me give you a clue. Normally, when we think of writing my own story, it's basically fiction. I want to write things the way that I want them to be. And when they don't go that way, already my story goes into trouble. It's not so much what I'm writing my story. It's not the things that happen to me that I'm writing. It's my responses. This is the key to authoring your story, is how do I respond to the events that happen to me? This is what creates a successful story, a hero story. And that's really what we're talking about, that we have the protagonist in the story, the hero of the story. How do I write such a story for my life that I feel that it's a hero part and it's a happily ever after part? It's all about the responses. So let's take that apart just a little bit. What is a hero? Well, a hero responds while a victim reacts. A hero faces the present while a victim can't let go of the past. A hero is strong while a victim is compelled. And a hero transcends confrontation while an ordinary player competes. These are the basic premises. So, okay, I'd like to write a good story for myself. And perhaps I see the logic in creating my story by how I respond to any particular thing that comes along, just throughout the day, everything that comes along. It's how I respond to that thing that makes the difference. So, how am I going to pen this story? What's going to give me the power to write such a story that it comes out in the way that I can live so called happily ever after? Well, this story is done in the old way. It's not done with computer. It's not cut and paste. It's handwritten, and you have your own little writing tool. And there's really three parts to this writing tool. Number one, and what you need is knowledge. You need some type of powerful knowledge to teach me, uh, to guide me how to get through such and such a situation, such and such a situation like that, several others. The power of knowledge. And so, what I have found is that, well, what knowledge do I need? Who am I, first of all, that I could write such knowledge? I'm a human being. And what is that? I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. And so, really, who I am is a spiritual nature. And if you haven't been to your local Raja Yoga Center, I would suggest that you look up Brahma Kumaris online and find out a center near you. This is a really good place to start to get the knowledge to start to pen your own story. So, what does it mean? Who am I? Well, I'm a being. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. When I hear that sentence, who am I? The first thought that comes up is, well, I'm peaceful. So let's start there. I'm a peaceful being. So let me respond. As I start to write that down, whatever event happens to me, my response is, I, the peaceful being, am responding to this given situation. But knowledge won't do it by itself. The ink that flows through this writing tool, this pen, if you would, is I need some type of power, some type of sustenance, a nectar. Think of a nectar coming through my pen. And this sustenance is a connection to my higher self, a connection to the divine. And this connection is what the process of yoga really is. This actual act of yoga is connection. Meditation is another word that we call for it. And so all this meditation, what it really is I'm taking time to connect to myself. I'm taking time to connect to something a little more divine, a spiritual nature. I'm remembering that, well, the term that we use quite often in the Brahma Kumaris is Om Shanti. We've all heard that by now. And it really means that I'm a peaceful being. It's used as a greeting, but it's really a confirmation of who I am. And it's what I remember. It's what I'm writing down. Every event that happens to me, especially the events that I find challenging, I am a peaceful being. I'm a peaceful being going through a human experience. So I have the two things. I'm writing my own story by responding to the events that happened to me through this knowledge that I've sustained as I begin to practice this sitting in silence. That's why meditation is such a powerful tool for us all. As I begin to practice this science, this art, this skill of being a successful human being, this skill of writing my own story the way that I want, I begin to change the way that the events happen. I change the results by whom I'm being. So 1, knowledge. 2, I'm sustained by the connection that I'm practicing over and over and over. And that's why finding little moments where silence is so valuable for us all. And thirdly, I have to stay on the page. I have to concentrate on what I'm writing now. I need a few directions, a few guidelines, a few guide rails to keep me from running around. For example, writing my own story is in the present. How can I continue to write my story now and into the future while I keep rereading chapters from the past? And if you notice that on like a pencil, on one side is the lead, the writing tool. On the other side is an eraser. I remember once reading something that when writing the story of your life, write well, edit often. And this is really maybe the most valuable of all the tools, is to not carry with me the continued writing. And what I'm doing is I keep writing that same story. Oh, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me, over and over and over and over. And it really is completely pulls me in the wrong direction. I can't see, I don't know how to write my story. It creates the habits. So let's quickly go over. Number 1, I need knowledge. 2, I need to be sustained by spending time in silence, by getting to know my own true nature, by realizing that, oh yes, I am a peaceful soul. And the easiest one of all is just to edit, constant editing by letting go of the past, erasing the things, erasing my opinions, erasing my prejudices, all these things that no longer serve me, because I see that it just brings a lot of extra words to my story. I have thousands of words. I really only need a page. In fact, eventually we don't even want to write a lot of words. What I'm writing is not so much a story, but it's drawing my own line of fortune. A drawing taking me from where I am now to where it is that I want to be. Just through this practice, through this understanding that I have the ability to write my own story. And this most important thing is how I respond to each event that comes before me, whether it's small or big or anything at all the responses are important. And I can change every single time, but I won't be able to do that unless I have some type of power. That's the sustenance, and that comes from the meditation. And I won't be able to do that if I don't edit out all the unnecessary things I'm bringing along with me from the past. So write your own story, write well, edit often, use the best knowledge that you can. I am a peaceful soul. I'm a powerful being. Well, that's enough words for now. Let's finish up just with a few moments of meditation, kind of based upon what I shared earlier. So I always like to take a few breaths first before I start to do the sustenance practice. And that's what really meditation is. You could think of it as getting some sustenance, getting some power. I'm empowering myself by doing this. So let me be quiet and charge my battery. I breathe in quiet and I just let go of the unnecessary. As I breathe in again, that quiet becomes a little bit something stronger. That's peace. I breathe in peace. And I let go of the past. This is a good moment, a moment of reflection, a moment to give myself space, a moment of peace. And just by stabilizing myself in that peace for a moment, I already feel power coming into me. Not some power of physical strength, not physical at all, but a power of well being and inner confidence, trust, free of cares, just by concentrating on the moment. I breathe in peace. I feel that peace. I experience that peace. Actually, I am that peace. And I feel so sustained by this experience that I can let go of the memory of experiences of times gone by, whether good, whether painful, whether anything at all. It's in the past. My story is being written now. I am peaceful. I am powerful. I'm loveful. This is the story that I'm writing. And I'm giving myself a little message right now that sometime today, something will come up, a little thing will happen, whether it's in traffic or with my relationships in my workplace or with family. Something will come up that normally in my story, I react in one way. But today is going to be different. I'm going to take a moment and remember that I am writing my own story, and I'm going to respond from a place of peace. I'm going to respond from a place of power. It's that simple. And I do it one response at a time. Om Shanti. All right. Thank you very much for sharing this moment with me. And let's keep responding in the way that you want to write your own story. Bye for now. See you next time on Friday with Friends.